Hey everybody, today we're going to be making a Psytrance Squelch video. We're only going to be using Ableton inbuilt devices. You can see the big chain of devices that I've got strung along down the bottom here. So it's going to sound like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and make it. We can delete that, and we're going to remake it, so it's not going to be exactly the same sound, but it's going to be the same principle. So first we come to instruments, we grab an operator, and we drop it on that channel. So inside the operator, if we click down here, we're clicking the oscillator A, and then that's going to allow us to change the waveform for that oscillator. So we can come here and we can make a saw wave. So we've turned that on, we've got that enabled. Next, what we need to do is we are going to use the LFO to modulate the pitch so that it pitches up and down. So when I press the key right now, we're just dealing with a straight sawtooth wave. It's not modulating at all. It's raw. So if we turn the LFO on, automatically it's modulating the pitch. And if we turn the rate, or the amount up, we can set it at an amount that we like for the movement of the pitch up and down. Next, what we can also do is we can come over here. We could change it to a different waveform. We don't need to do that, but we are going to go ahead and sync it so that we can sync it to time. And maybe I'll put it at 4 and see how that sounds. And maybe that'll be suitable for what we're going to do. We'll leave it like that for now. Next we can come over to the filter section, and we can use a bandpass. So we can select the bandpass here. We can push some resonance on the filter. Okay, so you can already hear the foundations of the sound are set. So from that point, we could be done with operator, and we can start stacking effects on it. So these tutorials that I've been doing lately on Psytrance effects are simple and very basic. And then the way that you want to process them, or if you want to go into further detail, you could do all sorts of other things with this sound. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and we're going to put some effects on this. So we're going to saturate it, and I'm going to explain my thought process for all of the effects that I'm going to use. I want you to understand why I'm going to these particular effects. So the saturator, what I want to do is I want to create an effect. So when I'm sweeping through the mid-range, I want this area to be really, really crisp. And the way I can do that is with a hard curve on a saturator. See, already. So yes, we have gained volume, but we've also really dirtied up that frequency spectrum. We've also made a sizzle. There's a significant sizzle in the high frequencies as well. But we've really made that sound very crispy. Next thing we could do is we could grab an overdrive, and we could exaggerate that even more. So if we just listen, it's probably going to be very loud. Yeah, you can see we're clipping here, we're clipping on the master. So let's gain stage it. So we'll go -12. So we're not clipping here. And maybe we could bring the dry wet of the overdrive down a little bit. Let's say around 30 hertz. Let's have a listen. Sweet, sounds good. Next, we could try a redux. So redux is bit crushing, and we could apply a very gentle amount. So let's say 3. So we're getting that sort of digitalized texture. Just going to put it on 2. Cool, we'll just put a really gentle amount. And if I double click, I can drop those away. I'm done with them for now. What else could we do? We could phase the sound. Now, typically with phasing, I don't like to do it because you really lose your the crisp edge that you've created on the sound. Phasing is going to blur all of that straight away. So we could, of course, put the dry wet lower and fiddle around with it, but what about a flanger? So the phase is doing something really cool, but it's also boosting the volume. Let's keep the phaser, but let's reduce the volume in between here. So we're going to go and we're going to gain it down. Okay, that's sounding pretty sweet. Next, what we can do is we can use an EQ and a compressor to process the sound, and sort of we use the EQ to cut out any sort of nasty frequencies that we don't like, and then we're going to use the compressor to regulate the volume over the entire period, so it doesn't go, you know, extremely loud and then extremely quiet. We try and even out the sound across a period of time. So EQ8. So if we were putting this in a track and we had kick and bass playing, you're going to get some conflicting frequencies down in the bottom in our sub bass kind of area. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut at around, let's say 100 hertz. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the number 8 frequency band as well, and we're going to gently cut maybe at around, say, 12,000 or maybe even 10,000 kilohertz. We don't need all of that really high frequency content, and that's going to be clashing with things like hi-hats and this sort of stuff. So we're still getting a crispy edge, but we just don't quite need all of it. And if you feel like you're losing a little bit too much, maybe push it up a little bit more. But I'm pretty happy with how it is for now. So that's the compressor. I could find, sorry, that's the EQ. I could find okay, I was just maybe trying to see whether there were any kind of notes that were playing that were a little bit aggressive and a little bit gross, but everything seems okay. I'll take a dip out here because I know that a lot of other leads in my track would be sitting around there, so I'll just cut a bit of space out for cut a bit of space out of that for my mix, my hypothetical mix. But I just want you to understand why I would do that. And then here I can go ahead and set my release to automatic. The attack's fine, the ratio's fine, and I'm going to crush the sound quite a lot. So I'm just trying to even out the volume over time with this compressor. So I'm going to make up the volume gain that I've lost. I'm just going to turn the flanger off. I'm going to turn the redux off. Yeah, the redux is making it do something really weird around here. So I'm going to actually turn the redux off and delete it because I don't like the sort of artifact it's creating in the high frequency there. Okay, next what we can do is we can be done with that. Reverb. We'll put a really small amount. We'll put it up to be like a relatively large one. We'll have a listen. Cool. And then ping pong delay. And we're going to go down to, say, 20%. I'm going to push it up, feedback a bit. And maybe something else that we could do. It's an auto pan. So we could gently pan that sound around in the stereo field at a relatively slow rate, maybe 4. Okay, so now we've come full circle and we're back to a very similar sound to what we made initially, and you've seen the entire process to get that. So hopefully the way I've explained what I'm doing with all of these effects has been useful for you, and I'll see you guys again soon in another sound design tutorial using Ableton's operator and only native Ableton effects, because I'm going to be doing a heap of them. So see you soon. Cheers.